All right, y'all, we're back. We're back, man. We are back. Welcome to the stream, guys. I'll explain what just happened because that was a little crazy. Basically, what I was trying to do, um, basically what I was trying to do, um, was I was trying to set the stream up like this. Normally, we're fine now. We're good, normal. But I was trying the new little feature, where you can have like the vertical stream going on at the same time. Yeah, that absolutely fried my computer, so that's kind of what was going on. I thought I could fix it with a couple settings, but yeah, we are cooked on that one. I ain't gonna lie, as Flame says in the chat. So yeah, that's what happened. I wanted to try it. I figured cool feature. Let me see if my thing can handle it. Really wasn't sure I was gonna go, and yeah, it kind of blew up in my face. So that's kind of what happened on that front. But we're live with the normal stream, like normal. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I thought it could work. Maybe I'll do it in the future. Maybe I'll look at the settings again or whatever. We'll kind of figure it out. But I mean, it is what it is, chat. But we're back, man. We're back on the stream. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, which is going to be very exciting. So if you guys are joining in, appreciate y'all joining up. Appreciate y'all joining in. I know it's a little chaotic and stuff today with the little stream, like half an hour late or whatever. But I mean, it is what it is, man. Kind of annoying, all the problems that we kind of had to deal with. So. It is what it is, man. Yeah, I mean, I try to do something new and it doesn't work, so it is what it is, man. But appreciate you guys joining up. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, which is going to be very exciting. Let me make sure we're good on my end before we start going and everything. You know, gotta check, right? Always gotta check. Where we at? Let me see where we're at. But yeah, we got 5 topics we're gonna talk about today. We got a lot of interesting stuff that's gonna be happening in the world of baseball and MLB. So that's currently what we're gonna be checking out and stuff like that, which is gonna be pretty exciting. Well, we'll kind of wait a little bit, make sure we're good over here real quick. We're good. We're good. Yeah, that was very annoying because like most of the time I'll start my stream or whatever, and you know there's like a little lag when it starts up or whatever. But man, it was just constantly breaking and getting destroyed. So, yeah, that wasn't ideal, obviously. So, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But hopefully you guys are joining up. Appreciate y'all being here. Shout out to Flame in the chat for being here. But like I said, we're gonna get into everything today. We got 5 topics we're gonna cover. Like I said, we're gonna talk about the CJ Abrams trade that recently has just been kind of popping out of nowhere. I feel like this kind of came out of nowhere, in my personal opinion. So we're gonna talk about the CJ Abrams trade. We're going to talk about the World Baseball Classic. There's some news on that as well, which is very exciting. We're going to talk about some meme marketing as well. I'm about to educate you on meme marketing, which is going to be pretty funny. We're going to obviously talk about our main topic, which is going to be the MLB Lockout situation. And at the end of the stream, we're going to talk about some recent roster moves. That's kind of what we have for today's stream. Appreciate everyone joining up, man. Appreciate y'all joining up. Once again, sorry for the tech delays. I mean, it is what it is. I might try to do that again in the future. Maybe I gotta do on some different settings or something like that. Maybe I gotta figure it out. Maybe I gotta get a better system. I don't really know, but we'll kind of wait and see what happens with all that. But we're live. Appreciate y'all joining up. So, anyways, let's get right into the topic, man. Why don't we get into everything already? We're first gonna start with this CJ Abrams situation, which is very interesting. When it comes to this situation, so basically the Giants were trying to pursue CJ Abrams from the Nationals, but they were unable to come up with a deal, which is pretty interesting, honestly, because the Nationals have been getting very active. If you guys don't know, they obviously just made that trade for Mackenzie Gore to the Rangers on that 5 prospect deal, which was honestly insane to think about. And honestly, it was a pretty solid deal for them. I'm not gonna lie, 5 prospects for Gore. I would probably make the same trade if I were them too, chat. I'm not even gonna lie, just because, you know, Gore just came off one of his best seasons he's had in his career in 2025. So very interesting that the Giants were getting, you know, wanting to pursue Abrams. Just because I wonder what the fair return was on their trade, right? I wonder who the, you know, who the Nationals wanted for instance, right? Like who did they want to get? You know what I mean? I think that's the main thing I was trying to figure out here is who did the Nationals get? Who did they want? Did they want Bridge Edgewood, right? Because if we look at the depth chart, right? Let's take a look at the depth chart. He would probably play second base, right? I mean, you got Willie Adames at short, so you wouldn't play him as short. He's not going to play third base. Maybe he plays second base right here. right? That's the only other spot I can think of. Obviously, Rafael Devers is going to play first, right? So that's the only position I can think of. Unless they moved him to the outfield or something like that instead of Gilbert and Ramos, he could play out there. Maybe Gun-Hoo Lee can move over. Maybe he can move over. Very interesting situation for Abrams. But yeah, what's your guys' kind of thoughts about that? Because CJ Abrams is definitely one of the talented players on the Giants. So I don't know, a little bit interesting to see, man. A little bit interesting to see. Kind of came out of nowhere, and this was all by the Athletic, by the way. Like all this stuff was by the Athletic, so shout out to them for finding this whole situation. But yeah, very interesting on the Abrams trade. Let's see if there's any more intel on Twitter. Let's see if I hit a refresh on Twitter if we can find any more intel from some of the reporters. Yeah, it really just says they're trying to make an aggressive trade. There is an article. Am I able to read it? Because it's by the Athletic, so probably not. No, I'm not able to read it. What a surprise. Yeah, so interesting trade. Honestly, that would have been a really good move, especially with that infield they would have. You know what I mean? I mean, just look at this infield. If we go back to it real quick, guys, just look at this infield. I mean, if you had Devers, you had C.J. Abrams, Chapman, and Willie Adames, that would have been a very solid infield for the Giants. I'm not even gonna lie, that would have been a very solid infield for them to have. So, yeah, unfortunately, it falls through for them. The Nationals, once again, making maybe another trade. I mean, they just got rid of Gore. Their former GM said they didn't want to get rid of any of their young guys, but the new guys taking a different approach from it. The Nationals are a very interesting team for me right now, a very interesting spot as a team on kind of where they stand. So very interesting for the Nationals side. But we'll kind of see what happens moving forward with them. Like I said, the Nationals are still in their rebuild phase. They're not going to be good this year. I think they really got a shot maybe 27, 28, 29, right around there. They kind of need a lot of their guys to get called up to the system for them to start being pretty good. So very interesting trade, but I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, very interesting from the Nationals. But yeah, I figured I wanted to talk about that just because I feel like it kind of came out of nowhere. Like there were really no rumors or anything about this at all. So definitely wanted to talk about it and cover it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that infield would have been insanely good. Are you kidding me? I mean, with Abrams in there, that would have been a solid infield for sure. So yeah, definitely want to talk about that. Just because, like I said, it kind of came out of nowhere. There weren't really any talks or discussions about that one. So we just cover it real quick about the Abrams trade. A lot of our other topics, we're going to minor stuff on, right? Before we get to our main topic. Because, there were stuff I want to cover, and it's good to have multiple topics and stuff. And then, communicate with you guys in the chat if you guys have anything on it. But yeah, it's basically it on the CJ Abrams trade. Figured I mentioned it before we get into the main topic. Another thing I want to mention as well, because this one I honestly did not expect at all, because it kind of came out of left field once again. Let's talk about our World Baseball Classic news, because once again this came out of left field. This came out of left field today. So Sean put this out on Twitter. I'm gonna go ahead and show you all right quick. Sean put this one out on Twitter. MLB Network is dropping a 5-part docuseries on the World Baseball Classic starting Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Every week, there will be an hour-long episode recapping the World Baseball Classic, covering stars, rivalries, upsets, and highlights. So it looks like Monday is going to be 2006, and then Tuesday's 2009, Wednesday's 2013, Thursday's 2017, and then Friday is 2023. Actually, very interesting. I actually am excited for this. I wonder how good it's going to be. I mean, you can see the graphic right here. I wonder how good this is actually going to be. Because this is the first time I'm hearing about something like this. I mean, everyone in the chat, everyone on Twitter is saying absolute cinema. Yeah, very interesting. I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. I wonder how in-depth they're going to go. I wonder if they're going to bring guys from the time period, former players from the old classics, right? I wonder if we'll see guys like Nelson Cruz, Derek Jeter in there. Ichiro, you know what I mean? Like some of those guys for the old classics. We'll kind of wait and see, but actually a very good idea. And like I said, I'm excited to see how good it is, chat. I mean, if it's good, it actually could be kind of fire. I'm not going to lie. If it's good, it actually could be kind of fire. So we'll kind of wait and see on it and see what's going on here. But yeah, they're going to be covering some World Baseball Classic stuff. Could be really cool. You know what I mean? Could be really cool in the future. So definitely could be pretty exciting to say the most part on that. But yeah, that is going to be coming forward this week, which is very exciting. So, like I said, starting this week, the 24th or 26th is going to be the first episode. and then it goes, 27, 28, 29, 30th, which is going to be exciting. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to watch them. I mean, it'd be cool to watch them on stream, but obviously I'd probably be getting copyrighted strike instantly, you know what I mean? So probably that's not going to happen, which, is a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. But yeah, very cool topic. Definitely go check that out. It's going to be all on MLB Network, I guess. So at 7 p.m. Eastern time, which is pretty cool. I'm actually pretty glad they're doing something like that in the World Baseball Classic. Like I said, there hasn't been a lot of hype for the Classic, I feel like, so far. I mean, there has been like roster, moves and stuff like that, but really hasn't been a ton of news on the Classic, you know what I mean? We haven't heard a whole lot of stuff yet. So, once again, we'll kind of wait and see on all that stuff in the future, man. It's going to be really interesting to see how all that stuff goes. So yeah, just wanted to cover that real quick about the World Baseball Classic, because, like I said, I feel like it hasn't been getting much coverage. We are going to be doing a stream in February when we get all 20 rosters revealed. We're definitely going to be doing something like that in February. I think the deadline is February 1st, I think. I could be wrong, but I think it's February 1st, the first deadline, or the actual 26-man roster deadline. Because like in December was the 35-man, but now it's going to be the 26. So, like I said, I'm definitely going to be streaming that and covering all the teams and rosters and doing predictions and all that stuff when all that information's come out. Maybe February 6th as it stands right now, in 2 weeks. Maybe do that stream. We'll kind of wait and see with all that other stuff. Because next week, hopefully we'll hear some stuff about MLB The Show 26, because that's, kind of where they revealed the game last year in the last week of January. It was January 28th is when they revealed it last year. So maybe January 27th, they'll reveal some stuff about MLB The Show 22, or 26, excuse me. Why do I keep saying 22? So yeah, we'll just kind of wait and see on that. But yeah, just wanted to cover that real quick. Now we can go over to our other topic, which I can't even believe I'm going to cover this, but we're going to cover this, chat. Meme marketing. If you guys don't know what meme marketing is, it's basically where, you use memes in marketing. It's pretty much that simple, right? So I guess the Chicago White Sox have taken it upon themselves to make meme marketing a thing. And I'm going to go over this tweet right now. You guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. So on opening day, April 4th for the White Sox, they're giving away a bobblehead featuring the 6-7 motion. And now, you know what I mean? Like, will this get fans to the stadium? I have no idea, but I think they're trying to do everything in their power to get fans to the stadium this season. I ain't gonna lie. But it says start the 2026 season in style. Join us for Kids Opening Day, including the ticket, package, and the Southpaw 6-7 bobblehead. Now, I just gotta know what intern, approved this. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? Like, honestly, it is a Saturday, so that is cool. April 4th, it's probably gonna be freezing cold in Chicago. But yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. I know the chat might have a lot to say about this one. But yeah, very strange. People are saying this generation is cooked. Yeah, I think he might be onto something with that, but I don't know. Yeah, so welcome to me marketing and baseball, man. So if y'all go to the White Sox game this day, you'll get this bobblehead of Southpaw. So there you go. Shout out to the White Sox. I'm actually very curious because with opening day, this bobblehead and the Blue Jays, they probably should get a good attendance the first day. And the new hype of baseball every single year. So we'll kind of wait and see. But yeah, shout out to me marketing for the Chicago White Sox, man. Because it's just so random. I saw this on Twitter and I just had to cover it. So yeah, it is what it is. Will I be at this game? Absolutely not. And I wonder how much this bobblehead is going to sell on eBay, by the way. I'm actually genuinely curious how much this might sell on eBay or something like that, or Facebook Marketplace or one of these other platforms at some point. Because low-key, I can see it selling for a lot. I'm not even going to lie, chat. So those are three of our mini topics out the way. With the CJ Aberms Trade, World Baseball Classic, and the meme marketing. We're going to get into our main topic now because this is the one that really is going to have the most impact in the future. And I know a lot of people are talking about it, with all the moves that we're seeing and stuff. With all these crazy AAVs now, with Tucker making $60 million a season, Bo Bichette making $42 million a season. We got to talk about this lockout because it is very, not similar, but it's very interesting to the strike in 1994 and 1995. So, it's definitely looking similar to the situation that we have there with a lot of owners being mad. I mean, that one was more about, they wanted a salary cap. And, the players were slowly increasing. A lot of teams couldn't, even afford what they were doing at the time. So, we could actually watch a video on the 1995 strike. There's actually a really good video on that that I did just watch. But yeah, it's pretty similar to what we're seeing here. So why don't we switch over here? This is basically what I'm talking about. If you guys don't know, is there's like 100% certainty that it might be a lockout or they're going to push for the salary cap. And yeah, the players will never accept the salary cap and we might be cooked. So that is like the situation we have going on in MLB right now. And who knows how bad it's going to get. In 1995, it was very bad. In 2022, it wasn't horrible, which I guess is the more like relatable one. But the reason I'm bringing up 1995 so much is that's the last time when they tried to push for something like that. 22 wasn't horrible. There wasn't really a push really for a salary cap that I can remember. I mean, maybe there was. I really don't remember much about the 2022. I just kind of remember the videos of them talking to the reporters outside and certain things were getting leaked and things like that. But yeah, it is what it is. I would go ahead and read their article, but once again, it's on The Athletic, and they don't let you ever read their articles on there, which is very unfortunate that they don't let you do that. But it is what it is. So we're going to go to the ESPN article. This one was actually posted December 1st, 2025. So it was a little bit ago, but I think a lot of the stuff is very valid in this article, and that's why we're going to cover it, because the Athletic one is probably pretty good, got more information, but once again, it doesn't let me read it. So if you guys don't know, December 1st, 2026 is when the CBA currently expires. The CBA is the collective bargaining agreement. Basically, it's which and everything they agree to on what's going to happen for the new season. If you guys are wondering where do you guys find it, this is the one we had for this upcoming season and the last couple of seasons. This is a 442-page document, which is literally insane. You can actually see it right up there. 442 document page. But this literally goes over everything and everything. So like if we just scroll through this real quick, look, so it goes over intent and purpose, the uniform negotiations, it goes over scheduling, it goes over salaries, minimum salaries, arbitration, we have hearings, we have in-season meal and tip allowance, spring training, all-star and home run derby benefits, injuries, like literally everything you could think of is basically in here, which is insane. But like I imagine they use these as like a template every single year, and then they just kind of change what they want to change, right? But yeah, locker room equipment. I think there's one about social media on here, meeting with players in the clubhouse, spring training conditions, winter league play, which is crazy to think about. That's in here. English as a second language, for obviously foreign guys. The All-Star game construction, the roster election process. I mean, it goes on and on and on, chat, right? Like anything you could think of is in here. Free agency, how does it work? What are they doing for that? There you go with more free agency stuff. Calculation of tax, that's a big one, right? The calculation of tax is massive. So that's a pretty big one. Definition of club payroll, general rule, signing bonuses, option contracts, loans, like it covers everything, dude. Like everything you could think of, this thing is covering. And just look at, I think the table of contents is like 15 pages. Like it's actually insane when you actually think about it. Player participation in season. We got some medical stuff, information banks, debt recollection, postseason play, revenue sharing, whatever cola rounding is, no idea what that's about. Medical issues, mini camps. Yeah, this is the one on social media I saw. But yeah, that is like this. The whole document. Sports betting's on here as well. Travel time. So yeah, it's a 14-page table of context for 442 pages, which is literally insane to even think about. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Like literally crazy. I ain't gonna lie. So this is the old CBA. This is the CBA that's currently being used now in Major League Baseball. This is from 2022 to 2026. Obviously, 4-year agreement. I don't really know why they make it 4 years, or they can't make it like 10 or something like that, or a certain amount of years. But it is what is. The interesting thing I will note about this, by the way, about this CBA. I mean, like I said, it goes over everything. So, I mean, you could literally look at this if you're really curious. You can literally go in here and look about things like this. But there was one thing that was definitely interesting that did not happen and is not going to happen in the 2026 season that I want to find real quick. It was talking about playing in other countries, right? Which is how that works and everything. And there was a country on here that we haven't been to in quite some time. I just have to find it. Yeah, maybe it's international play. Yeah, here it is. So Mexico, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, we've all been to. We went back to Asia. We went back to Europe in this year. Australia was the one that was mentioned that we haven't been back, which is very interesting. This is on page 165, which I actually do want to go to. 165. Because it is very interesting on how this has worked and everything like that. I went to 160. Okay, well, I got to scroll now. Okay, well, it is what it is. Yeah, very interesting topics. Because we didn't go to Australia, so interesting. International play. Okay, it's a little further down. I'm actually curious to see what it has to say. Because, like, you can literally go through this and see what you want. Played in US or Canada, Expedition Games. Yep. Possible expansions also in here, which is very interesting. I mean, there's so much stuff in here, Chad. It's insane. Yeah, it doesn't talk about Australia. Yeah, possible expansion is crazy to think about. But there you go. But yeah, they did talk about some international stuff, international sites, international events. Yeah, so here's Australia once again mentioned. For each spring training or championship season, Mexico, Puerto Rico will be decided, which they did do. They did do Dominican Republic, and I think they did Mexico for spring training. I don't think they did anything else like that, but I think that was something they did. Events in Asia, Europe, Australia. They did go to Asia and Europe, not Australia, though. Each championship season event in Asia, Europe, Australia, the Office of Commission shall notify the Association of Writing which clubs will be selected for the event no later than May 1st. So, yeah, they never went to Australia, which I think it'd be cool to go to Australia. I think that'd be something cool. They haven't been to Cindy in quite some time. It's been at least like 10 years, I think, since the last game there. It's been quite some time, but they went to Asia, they went to Europe. Australia would be cool. I know they were supposed to go to France a while ago. I think in like 24, 22, something like that. It was one of the even years. But yeah, they're supposed to go to France at some point, which never happened, unfortunately. But we're seeing Australia that also never happened, unfortunately, which is very interesting to think about. But yeah, once again, you could go through this whole CBA. It was actually easy to find. I just looked it up. Current MLB CBA is one of the first links that came up. So very interesting on that front. But yeah, so all the experts looked at this. There was multiple people working on this ESPN article, but I still think it is valid. So the first thing they say is there a chance that the two sides could come to an agreement before December's deadline, and what happens if they don't? So the article says, sure, there's always a chance that happens. Kind of unlikely, in my opinion. The greater likelihood, if passed, wow, they lose some weird words. Okay. Points towards the league locking out the players December 1st. A lockout would shut down free agency and trades as it did in 2021 and set an even more important and thorough deadline early to mid-March of 2027. The drop dead date for potentially losing regular season games. Yeah, the one in 21, I think, happened, it was right around March or February, something like that, the last time it happened. A lockout for MLB in 2027 would absolutely hurt baseball. Yeah, I 100% agree, Jose. 100%, man. It would actually destroy the sport, I ain't gonna lie. Which kind of sucks, which is why we don't want it to happen, obviously. But I mean, if you saw, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at the 95 strike with the same issues, like, the season almost didn't happen. It's crazy with replacement players they were using and all the drama around there. I mean, something similar could happen. Like, I don't think it's going to get as bad as 95, but it definitely could. You know what I mean? Like, it definitely could happen. So this is what happens between today and a year from now. Could have a definitely significant bearing on avoiding the doomsday scenario. That not only the players locked out, but the sides cannot find a common ground after. The greatest threat of an extended work stoppage, baseball's last, was in 1994 and 1995. Would come if the owners insist an overhaul of the game's economic system, including salary cap, player leadership, would not even entertain the notion. Yeah, which is true. They still are not going to... The players are just not agreeing to the salary cap. There's no way. At the same time, the union and executive director, Tony Clark, are in the middle of a federal investigation into the player MLBPA's finances. that launched around May 2025. Any pursuit of prosecution by the government could discriminate effect on the union's leadership and potential its positions in bargaining. That is very interesting. A lot of people do not know that about Tony Clark. This investigation started in May, which I don't think there was much coverage on it. I did see like one article talking about it at the time, but it wasn't big news at all for sure. So I really don't know what that investigation's about. I mean, if it's somewhat fraud or like money laundering, then I don't know how much they're going to be able to negotiate stuff. So that is a weird factor about this potential lockout. Well, I don't really know what that means moving forward, but yeah, there's an investigation into the MLBPD or MLB Players Association. So we'll kind of see. So next question is, what is the timeline for negotiation between December 1st or between now and December 1st, 2026? Now remember, this was made December 1st, 2025. So it's about a month since that has happened. And we haven't really heard much. There's been a couple talks on radio shows from Manfred and Clark going back and forth, them just bickering at each other. But Manfred said he does like the salary floor. So that is a good thing for us. But this one goes on to say, well, the sides held a preliminary meeting this fall. It could have more informed sessions over the coming months. Bargaining typically cranks up during spring training. I think the first meeting's in April or May is what they said. I think that's the first time of them meeting. It's going to be in April or May, so we'll see what goes on there. I'm glad they're meeting earlier. I feel like in 2021 they did not meet until like after the season was over, which was bad. But we'll wait and see what goes on here. At that point, the sides will begin to make their priorities clear to one each other. It will offer a better sense of the issues that are expected to be central of negotiations. Obviously, the salary cap is going to be the main one. The initial offers are important to outline the broad strokes of negotiations to come the most important things in the meetings. However, it will take place closer to December 1st deadline, with November being the most vital month to establish where both sides stand before the lockout, which happened in 2021. They met in December, didn't really go their way. The lockout happened. They came back in early February, March or whatever, just pushed the season back a little bit. So that's basically what happened in 2021. Obviously, Manfred, I'm pretty sure needs this to go pretty well for him. Not going to lie, even though he is thinking about retiring soon. So it says, who are the primary names fans should know on both sides of the negotiations? Now, this is really interesting, by the way, because these are going to be the guys that are going to be pushing this thing. And it's going to be interesting, the teams and the players associated with this. So for the players, the deputy executive director, Bruce Mayer, is the lead negotiator. Clark, the ultimate authority, obviously Tony Clark. There's a 28-member executive board of players made up of 8 elected high-ranking subcommittee members. So that is how they pick these players, I guess. So obviously Cy Young winners Paul Skeens and Tarek Skubal, plus veterans like Chris Bassett, Jake Cronenworth, Pete Fairbanks, Cedric Mullins, Marcus Semien, and Brett Suter, and one representative from each team. The delegates for the rank and file. So those are the 8 guys that are selected, and then every one of the players from every team is there as well. That's basically how it works from the player side, but Mayer and Clark basically do, majority of the work, basically, I'm pretty sure. So for the league, once again, Deputy Commissioner Dan, how do you pronounce that? Hadman? I don't know. Is lead negotiator with Commissioner Rob Manfred having the ultimate authority. The league's labor policy committee, headed by the Colorado Rockies owner Dick Monfeld, which, is interesting. Obviously joined by Hal Steinbrenner from the New York Yankees, John Sherman from the Kansas City Royals, Jerry Rinsdorf from the Chicago White Sox, Ray Davis of the Texas Rangers, Jim Pohlad from the Minnesota Twins, no idea how to pronounce his last name, Marcus Alavcio of the Milwaukee Brewers, and then approximately for the 30 owners. So interesting that Dick Monfort and Hal Steinbrenner are like the main 2 candidates that they have there, which is kind of funny. Like I said, if you look at, where it stands right now, between these teams at least, if these are the ones going to be heading everything, obviously, let's see what the chat says. Manfred is planning on retiring after his contract. Yeah, that's when he's planning on retiring. He just said that on one of the radio shows. So this should be his last one doing this. I mean, the last one was 4 years, so I imagine maybe a similar situation, maybe 6 years. We'll kind of wait and see. I doubt it's like 3 or 2 years. It's definitely going to be for a decent amount of time. So, yeah, I could definitely see it, being the next person's problem, right? When that comes. But yeah, that's right. He did say that on one of the radio shows. I forgot which radio show, but he did say that. Um, yeah, so Dick Monfort, the Rockies, obviously looking for change because terrible division, terrible team. The Yankees, I don't know how the Yankees feel about it. Like, because the owners that, like, so many different owners have a different stance on it. I don't know how the Yankees feel about it. They probably would not want a cap just because they can always buy guys, if I'm assuming. The Royals, who knows how they feel. Same with the White Sox. I'm pretty sure they want a lot of change. And White Sox have so many problems. Team's bad. They want a new stadium. They want out of Chicago. They got too many problems, to be honest. Ray Davis, no idea how he feels about it, honestly, because the Rangers like to spend, so maybe they would want a cap. I feel like they might want a cap just because they're not at the top of spending. Same with Jim Pohlad. The Twins are never at the top of spending. And same with the Brewers. They're never at the top of spending either. So, I mean, it's really what? Hal Steinbrenner and Ray Davis from the Yankees and Rangers that, might maybe might be for it or against it. I don't know. A lot of what the talk has been is it's owners versus owners. Like that's kind of the main talk we're hearing about this situation so far. So we'll kind of see what's going on here. From like I said, from the players that they have suggested here, I don't really know how the players feel about it. The guys that are going to get big deals, I imagine, don't want the salary cap. But for certain players, I don't know if it matters for guys that are retiring, things like that. So, but yeah, those are the key players when it comes to this negotiation. So let's go to the next question. It says, how will the looming potential of a prolonged labor stoppage impact free agency this offseason? So it's going to be the same as 2021, basically. But we'll read the article. Executives, league officials, and agents are now in agreement on one thing at this moment in the offseason. They're simply not sure how things will shake out, and yet, in terms of spending, there are no grand predictions about the theme of the offseason, and a few early signings haven't been shadowed much either. Having said that, two emerging narratives seem to be relevant. It's business as usual for the annual World Series contenders, Yankees, Phillies, Dodgers, and now the Blue Jays. They're talking about this offseason, really. That's basically what they're talking about. Phillies president didn't even hesitate when asked how the final year of labor could impact their winter. This is not something we talk about. We're going to proceed normally, which I think is how most teams should look at it, honestly. I don't think teams really care, to be honest, about it. I don't think they think about it. You expect the same thing from the Dodgers. Yep. Other organizations are waiting for certain potential in the form of a new economic system before they jump back into spending. That is an interesting thing because we have seen that. I'm not going to lie. Everyone has signed a player, but not every team has spent big money. So I think that's the majority of the part and why we're seeing these high AAV deals now. Because I think half the league doesn't want to spend money for that reason alone, to be honest. So I think that's the main one, to be honest. That might not come until the next CBA is signed, true, which seems to be looming at the end of the CBA, which have some things to the offseason, even a smaller impact. So, yeah, I definitely think half the league is not trying to spend money for the same issue. Oh boy, my Cubs. Cubs president Jed Hoyer admitted at the end of last season that many of his players' contracts were designated to be up after 2026. In other words, when the CBA expires, in order to have a relatively clean books heading into 2027 and beyond. Which is interesting. I don't know if any other teams are set up like that except for the Cubs, but we'll see. Several agents and teams believe that the cost, certainly in a form of a new CBA, and if MLB gets its way a first ever salary cap, will return spending back to higher levels simply because teams will understand their yearly costs more immediately after a new deal. I do think that is true. Like I actually do think if there was a hard salary cap, I think a lot of teams would be really good. Like I genuinely think that it would be way more competitive. I really do think that, but at the same time, who knows? You know what I mean? Like you really only know until it's in action, I think. Because I think a lot of people are more in favor of the salary floor, right? Which is bringing the bottom teams up to the rest of the field. And if you made it like 100 million or like 120 million to bring those teams up, maybe help the competitive balance. But we'll wait and see. I mean, I think there's a couple teams that are going to surprise people. Like, I know a lot of people are getting excited about the Marlins. On my Marlins video, everyone's saying that team's going to be godlike. So we'll kind of wait and see. And the Marlins don't spend at all. So we'll kind of wait and see, man. I think there could be a couple teams in 2026 that could be good out of nowhere. I mean, the Marlins are a bottom feeder that could be good. Like I said, Cleveland doesn't spend much money. I think they could have a really good season. So we'll kind of just wait and see. We have a couple other teams spending some money as well that are on the bottom of the list, but You never know. Let's continue the article as it stands. In the meantime, there's a postseason and a World Series to be played in 2026, and there's not major markets that want to get a playoff run under their belts before things change, according to insiders, which is true. I think that's why a lot of teams have been going hard, especially the Blue Jays. So look for free agents in the market, even with labor concerns this winter. Yes, a few may take a one-year deal, hoping the new economic system benefits them going back into the market, but there's certainly plenty of momentum. Yeah, I feel like if you're a player at this point, I would just take the best deal. I really don't. Like, I know a couple of guys have tried that. You know, Bo Bichette. I mean, Bregman had a really good time of it. I mean, you see Kyle Tucker doing it now, so we'll kind of wait and see. Agent Scott Boras summed it up when asking if spending would be depressed this winter, knowing what's coming next offseason. Historically, we haven't seen that because teams always want to put their best, he said. The bottom line is teams understand that they don't have to pay players when strikes or lockouts. So, I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, when the league gets locked out, you can't sign, you can't make trades. You just kind of wait, which sucks. You can make a strategy of what to do, but when everything opens up is when it starts getting kicked back up again. So, yeah. So, like I said, we're going pretty in depth with this. We still got a lot to go in this article. So if you guys are enjoying the stream, man, make sure you drop a like. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the chat because we still got a lot to go in this. Yeah, definitely a solid article from ESPN. I'm glad they put all the guys on the article, honestly, to give all their opinions. Let's go to the next topic. It says, will the battle over a potentially salary cap be the primary topic discussed between owners, players in the year ahead? There doesn't appear to be much doubt about that. The economic disparity has been a hot button issue for decades. The crumbling of regional networks, which, like I said, we covered last week, which is the main problem. The regional sports networks just going down and the teams not being able to get that money, losing to 20-30% of their revenue. If you guys haven't seen that stream, definitely make sure you guys watch on the channel. We covered the regional network problem and why teams are spending than others. It was a really good discussion, really good topic. Definitely recommend you guys go watch that one, which led to several teams losing out on local media revenue. Has brought that topic forehand in recent years. Teams spending like the Dodgers and Mets have only exacerbated the anger from owners throughout the industry who claim they don't have the revenues to keep up, which is true. I don't think some teams have the revenue. We just saw the Braves release their financial statements because the Braves are a public company, and it didn't really look good. A lot of their money wasn't made from their baseball operation. It's a lot made from the battery, which is interesting to think about, honestly, the economics of the sport. Even Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner recently downplayed his franchise profit margins and spoke out in favor of a salary cap. See, there you go. Like, even though the Yankees are up here a lot, they still struggle to make profit. I mean, it's a hard business. I really don't think it's as simple as that. And we're seeing this. I mean, the only guy they've signed is Bellinger this offseason, and they've re-signed a couple of their smaller players. But, yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep up. You know what I mean? It's hard to keep up. So if Steinbrenner, who praises over one of the most powerful franchises in the world, sounds open to one, imagine how strongly counter markets in Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, and Tampa feel. That's also true. Like I said, I think a lot of it's going to be owners versus owners, guys. I think that's going to be the majority of it this offseason in 2026. But the prevalence of free markets has catapulted the issue throughout MLB Players Association's existence. Remember that you start and understand how ugly this could get. Yeah, I agree. I think it can get ugly, to be honest, if I had to guess. But let's go to the next topic. It says, which other issues will fans hear most from each side in the year before the CBA expires? Yeah, so this is the thing that's going to happen. Like, I think you're going to hear a lot of talk about this throughout the season between players, between different owners. People are going to be asking questions throughout the whole season as fans. You know what I mean? A central issue for the union during the last round of talks was how to get the players paid sooner, a counter to the middle class of free agency continuing to dry up. As a result, the current CBA minimum salaries went up and the prospect promotion incentive was introduced, which I low-key think that's a good thing. I think the minimum salaries going up is obviously great for the players. The prospect promotion incentive was really good, even though it's still a little strange how it works with the draft. Basically what that is, if you have like a rookie of the year, or you have a guy in Cy Young voting or MVP that's a rookie, you get an extra pick for that in the draft after the first round, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Pre-arbitration bonus pools were established, which is cool for guys in pre-arbitration. Expect more talk around that subject in general. In all likelihood, MLB will once again argue that higher compensation for younger players needs to be coupled with lower luxury tax thresholds, and we'll try once again to pair that with a salary floor. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff I personally agree with. I think the younger players should be getting paid a decent amount, to be honest. The my God, can't speak. MLBPA probably will say that this year's too close to traditional salary cap system, and on it will go on again and again. So yes, the economics will dominate, particularly with the changes to revenue sharing models designed by both parties and potential pivoting a path to an agreement. So that'd be definitely interesting if that happens. But two other factors figured from the front and the center. One is rule changes. In the last basic agreement, the league secured a shorter window to implement proposals and amendments to the rules within Major League MLB's majority of seats on competition committee, given its authority over field play. The union desires more control, and there is a subject on the international draft. The league wants one. Yeah, that's an interesting topic about the international draft. I really don't know how that would work, to be honest. Like, I really don't know how that would work, to be honest. Like, no idea, but it would be an interesting concept for sure. You have a normal draft with the international draft. Maybe that'd be in the offseason. I really don't know when that would be. I feel like it's kind of hard to link it up with the MLB draft. Than just a player signing period we have now with posting fees and everything like that. But yeah, it's interesting, and obviously the union wants more control of what's going on in the field, which makes sense. But yeah, there's going to be so many different topics talked about during the CBA. I mean, you guys saw the document, man. I mean, there's 442 pages in this document on the last CBA. So, I mean, there's just so much stuff that's going to be discussed when it comes to this topic. So, expect to hear a lot. You know what I mean? So, let's keep going with the article. During the last rounds of talks, the union entertained the possibility after a new CBA was ratified. The two sides gave themselves additional 4 months to agree on a trade. The league gets an international draft. The union gets away with the qualifying offer. They couldn't agree by the deadline, but this will come up again. Yeah, that is interesting. I'm not going to lie. I'm fine with the international draft. I really don't think it's that big of a deal. The qualifying offers, I can see why they want to get rid of that, to be honest, because it is a crazy amount of money. But yeah, this is the article based on things that we can expect to see, right? Just with the whole situation and everything going on like that. Now, I'll get my thoughts on this because I think it's going to be bad. I really do think it's going to be bad. I think this is the thing you're going to see. We'll keep it here with the primary people. I think this is what you're going to see, all right? I'm going to give you guys my prediction on this topic because I just don't have confidence in the two sides coming to an agreement, which I think how a lot of fans feel, to be honest. Let me just write this down real quick. Yeah, so my prediction on this, right, is I personally think that we're going to hear about this all season long. We're going to hear about this all season long, right? We're going to hear about, when people are getting interviewed, we're going to hear, people asking, hey, what's your thoughts on the collective bargaining agreement coming to an end? What should be in the next one? What do you want to hear, right? From owners, we'll probably have a certain thing get said, right? So I bet some owners will speak out about it, especially when the season goes on with different players and things like that. You know what I mean? Or different teams winning, right? So, for example, when the Rockies are out of it in, the first, 4 months of the season, you'll probably hear some things from those guys saying we need the salary cap. We really need it. It's destroying. It's going to make the sport better, more competitive, all that kind of stuff, right? Especially when majority of the guys leading the charge want it, right? So that's kind of what you have there. So, yeah, I think you're going to hear about it all season. We're obviously going to get to the World Series. Whoever wins the World Series, we'll congratulate the Dodgers once again. For winning a third time, if I had to guess, or the Blue Jays, who knows? I feel like they're the favorites right now. But yeah, then it's going to get to the offseason, and November is going to hit. And I wonder if teams will move quickly on free agents compared to what they did in 2021. I think that's the interesting thing. I wonder if they're going to move quickly. Like, are they going to, want to sign guys right away? Are they going to wait? Are they just going to wait to get better terms? I feel like most teams will wait for the new CBA, to be honest. I really don't think anything's going to happen in November because it never does. So I think teams will wait. We'll get locked out, right? But I personally don't think an agreement's going to be made before December 1st. But let's be honest. I mean, if they had an agreement, say the World Series ended, and then a week later you hear, oh, we have an agreement. We're adding this, this, and this. Like, hey, that's awesome. I mean, do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I generally think it's going to, take at least like April maybe. Like I could generally see it, skipping spring training. Like I could generally see it happening, skipping spring training, push the season back, maybe play 100-game season or something, because it's going to take a while for the CBA to kick in. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be so many different topics to talk about. Like they talked about the qualifying offers, the international draft. Who knows if they want to add another team to the postseason at this point. That was a big discussion last time. Or that was a big thing the MLB wanted, right? That was one of the negotiating tools they used to get certain things the union wanted, to add another team in the postseason, to make more money, obviously. So I wonder if that's going to be another topic brought up. Maybe go to 7 teams like the NFL. We'll kind of wait and see. I don't really think... I mean, if there was a 7th team, I don't know how they work it. 4 wildcard spots, I feel like it's kind of crazy, but hey, you never know. I mean, who really knows how that's gonna work? But or they could just do like low key what they did in 2020. They have the first three. You have the division winners, then they go, then you got the second team, in the division, and then you just have one wild card spot for the best team as the 7th, just seed or whatever. I know it could be an interesting system, but hey, who knows? So maybe that's something they talk about. Like I said, the salary cap, salary floor is going to be the main thing. I personally think they're not going to agree to a salary cap, but there will be a salary floor. Or maybe there'll be like another soft cap, but it's like insanely harsh. You know what I mean? Like even more harsher than it is now. With like crazy more tax. Or maybe you just like... Or maybe they'll just make it, because I think the Dodgers don't have like any draft picks this draft. I think they have their first round pick and that's it. Like I don't think they have a lot of picks until like the 7th or 8th round or something like that. I wonder if like, hey, if you're over the cap, no draft picks in the upcoming draft, or like they like I feel like they gotta make it like harsh enough where like you'll be like, damn, I don't know if you should sign this. Like, you know what I mean? Because I just don't think they're gonna agree to a salary cap. In my opinion, I just don't think it's gonna happen. That's why I think it's gonna take forever to figure out. So I could definitely see this going into April or March. You know what I mean? And things like that with the salary cap. You know what I mean? Obviously that's not ideal, but that's what I think. I generally think like by April they'll get a deal in. They'll delay the season by a month. Opening day might be in May. You'll play 130 games or 140 games or whatever, 144 games, and that will kind of be it. That's personally what I think is going to happen. But I don't know. We'll wait and see, man. We'll wait and see. Like I said, I'm pretty optimistic about a lot of these topics, but honestly, who knows? You know what I mean? Honestly, who knows? I've been low-key playing Legend Road to the Show. Really? How's that been, Noah? Are you having fun on Legend? That's actually not a bad idea. I've seen people do that before, like they just ramp up the difficulty each time. Are you having fun? Are you getting better at the game, bro? Let me know. But yeah, like I just don't see this going like smoothly. Like I don't know. I want to be optimistic, but I just really don't see these negotiations going smoothly at all. So we'll kind of wait and see, man. We'll wait and see what happens, and who knows how this battle's gonna go, right, Chet? Who really knows how this battle's gonna go, man? We'll kind of just wait and see, but yeah. Like I said, he just says no. We're not getting better. I gave up a grand slam and quit. Yo. Did you have a pitcher? I met you at a pitcher then, if you're doing that. I have 18 saves and 20 opportunities. It's honestly not bad, though. That's really not that bad. That's honestly what happens in normal MLB. Not that bad, Noah. But yeah, well, if you guys want to read the current CBA, I mean, here it is, man. 442 pages of documents is what you could read if you want to. Very interesting. Documents we have here, and yeah, if anyone wants to read the CBA, just pull it up, man. You can go to any topic you want. Just scroll down and we'll see what we got, which is funny. Yeah, so that's everything about the lockout. Everything that we know right now is there's just no way they're gonna be able to find a decision. Like, there's just no way. Should have 20. That's unfortunate, Noah. Yeah, I mean, if we're already hearing stuff about it now that they're not gonna find a thing, like they're not gonna make a decision, there's no way, man. Like, it's going to get locked out. It's going to be a struggle bus, and it's going to take some time, chat. It's going to take some time to figure it out and see who's going to be up there, you know what I mean? And stuff. That's a lot of reading. Yeah, it's actually crazy, Noah. If you want to read through the CBA, bro, you got it. But yeah, so that's what I think the lockout's going to happen. I really do think it's going to get locked out. It's going to be worse than 2021. They might miss games, might miss the season at that point. Who really knows? We need a former player to be the next commissioner. I mean, so the thing about the commissioner position is you kind of have to like work your way up. Like a lot of the guys that have been commissioner were former owners or like former businessmen. You know, if you look at like the commissioners, um, I mean, if you look at the 1995 one, it was Seagal who owned the Brewers or who bought the Brewers from the Seattle Pilots, owned the Brewers, and then took the commissioner's office, and then that whole fiasco happened. So that's the last time we had this situation. Um, yeah, it'd be cool to have that, but it's like a position you have to work for. It'd be cool to just put someone in there. You know what I mean? Like, hey, Derek Jeter, get on in there, buddy. But nah, it's usually the chain of command. You usually go up because I think Rob Manfred was the last commissioner's like right hand man. So there you go. You know what I mean? He played one season in 1994. Michael Jordan, yeah, I know. Yeah, so Rob Manfred was the right hand man of the last commissioner, and then he got the commissioner when he stepped down. I don't know who that is for Rob Manfred, by the way. I generally don't know who that is. I'd have to do some research on that. But yeah, that's my prediction on the lockout. That's my prediction on the lockout. I think it's going to be terrible. We're going to hear about it all season long. December 1st is going to happen. We're going to be locked out. It's going to come April time, and they're going to have to figure it out. And we're going to miss games, and we could miss the season. Who knows? But we do have MLB The Show, so that will be good. MLB The Show will be out, guys. Regardless of a lockout, MLB The Show will be releasing. So that's all that matters at the end of the day. Elite knowledge, yeah, you honestly do need elite knowledge. Ken Griffey Jr. would be an awesome commissioner. Yeah, the thing is though, like, see the problem with the commissioner role is it's like you have to do so much. Like I don't think people understand how much you actually have to do. Um, like like yeah, the commissioner of the sport, but you gotta remember the commissioner position is what like the owners want. Like you know what I mean? Like when we think about these negotiations, Rob Manfred is the owner's guy. Like you know what I mean? Like he's the guy the owners want to argue their problems with and stuff to the players, right? He's their guy. So the owners kind of choose who that commissioner is. So that's why I feel like it's hard for a player to get in there, just because the owners kind of pick who they want. WMLB The Show, yeah, we'll always have MLB The Show, which would be insane. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of how the commissioner works. Like the owners kind of choose who they want. Once again, you kind of have to work for it most of the time. Like we said, in the chain of command. So that's why it's going to take a while. Yeah, if you guys remember 2022 or 2021, we still had MLB The Show come out. So we'll still have that to play. And who knows if the players bring back the Players League in 2020, which was pretty funny. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, that's basically all my thoughts on the lockout, man. Like I said, we're going to hear about it all season long, so it's going to be good. Let's go into our last topic of today's stream, which we're going to talk about the recent roster moves, right? That's another one we want to talk about. We're going to talk about the recent roster moves going on in the MLB right now, kind of what's going on. There hasn't been, well, there actually has been a lot, I think, since I last been on stream. But if you guys don't know, I've been tweeting everything out for all the roster moves and all the situations. So go follow me on my Twitter, guys, if you want to see all that. If you guys want to see all that stuff. And this show's my most played game every year. Yeah, facts. It's my most played game every year, too. I ain't going to lie. It's my most played game every year, too. But, yeah, before we move on, let's go over here. But, yeah, before we start talking about the moves, quick update, chat. You already see I got the shirt on. We already got the merch on, man. This is what I've been working on, guys, if you want to tune in. I'm working on these little custom cards on the website. I think they look pretty cool. I actually like it. Basically, you can just like scroll through it. If you're on the phone, if you're on the computer, you gotta use the little tab. I don't know. These custom cards I was working on the website look very cool. So once again, if you guys want to get the merch, definitely check below in the description for the website link. Once again, crownculturehq.store. You guys can get all this stuff on here. Currently updating a lot of the photos and pictures and stuff. So I'm going to update a lot of these stuff over the upcoming days. And then we also did add the About Us page. So if you guys are curious on why I started and all that stuff, you guys can read the new About Us page. Once again, I'm going to be updating the About Us page, the contact stuff, all that stuff. So I am trying to update the website a lot because I feel like it's low-key been neglected, and I'm trying to make it better. So, yeah, these are the new cards I just made. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Actually took me a decent amount of time to make them, so hopefully you guys are enjoying that. But yeah, definitely go check out the merch if you guys want to support me and support the brand, man. I really would appreciate it. Anyways, let's move on. Shout out to the hashtag ad. We're going to move on to the next topic, W merch. Hell yeah, man. W merch. We're going to move on to the next topic. Let's talk about the recent roster moves, right? We're once again back on Sport Tack. Obviously, the new move that happened was the Cody Bellinger signing. I didn't really give my thoughts about that one, which I thought it was interesting, that negotiation, honestly, between everything, because he wanted 7 years, and then the Yankees were like, no, we're going to give you 5. And then he goes, yeah, we want 7 years. And he wanted like 37 million a year, which is crazy to think about, chat. 37 mil a year is crazy. But he ended up getting 32.5, and he got 5 years. So whole negotiation was basically for nothing. Because let's be honest, I don't think Cody Bellinger was really going anywhere else. I don't think he had many options on the table, to be honest, especially when the Dodgers signed their outfielder. I don't think the Mets were going to want him. So, yeah, I think he was kind of stuck to the Yankees. But it's a good contract for him. I think Bellinger's going to do great once again with New York. 5-year deal, definitely a longer contract. He does have opt-outs, though, in the second and third year, I think. So, I don't know. We'll see how Cody Bellinger will do with the team. So that was the big signing that we had. But I want to just take a look at the offseason so far, man. We still have a lot of guys on the market right now. We still have, over 100 players in the market. I mean, these are the next guys up by value. We can kind of take a look. I don't really know who the next domino is to fall. Like, I'm really surprised that, like, Luis Arias isn't signed. Like, Eugenio Suarez isn't signed yet. Especially on, like, a 1 year or something. Same with, like, guys like Verlander and, you know, all those guys. I'm going to play some Madden. Bye-bye. Stream. W Stream Roy. I appreciate it, no? I appreciate you for coming in, my man. Yeah, I'm just surprised. Like, a lot of guys haven't been signed, man. Like, with Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. Like, I feel like these guys, if any bottom team would want a good pitcher, man, and these are the guys I'm looking at. So, very interesting on that front, especially. So, a little bit weird. We got guys like Paul Goldschmidt that could take a 1 year. I mean, Rhys Hoskins could take a 1 year. Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of these guys could get signed by teams that we're not expecting. Like, you know what I mean? But, like I said, with the regional network deals, with the CBA, a lot of these teams aren't spending money. So, I can't blame them. You know what I mean? Like, imagine you... Like, I feel like this is the best way to describe it. Like, imagine you got a new job, right? And then you got a new job, you were making a big purchase or whatever, but you didn't know, like, 30% of your income. You know what I mean? I think that's, like, the best way to put it. Like you only knew 70% of what you were making, you know what I mean? Or something like that. Like, I don't know, that's the best way to put it. Or, like, you bought a house, right? And then your mortgage goes up by 20, 30%. You know what I mean? Or you lose 20, 30% of your income. Or you get fired or something, right? Like, that's how these teams are looking at this. Like, there's just not optimal way to make this money back if they spend it on these free agents, right? I think that's kind of how they're looking at. So if I drop 30 mil on Valdez, am I going to get that money back? Who knows, right? I think that's how a lot of these teams are looking at this and how a lot of it's going to play out. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I think it's going to go on, in my personal opinion. But we'll wait and see, though. Who really knows? But a lot of teams aren't making money. A lot of teams want the salary cap. So I think that's kind of the main thing about this free agency is what we're seeing is we've had this looming CBA over our heads, right? And we don't know our income. We don't know what team we're going to be on or where people are going to watch our games. We don't know how much money we're getting from that. And we're not going to spend any money on free agents. We're going to keep what we have and go from there. I think it's really the best case scenario for most teams right now, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's kind of how free agency looks at the moment. I feel like there's been not a lot of news about a lot of guys. So that's kind of where we're at. Once again, whoever gets Luis Arias is going to have a good squad, man. Whoever gets Eugenio Suarez is going to have a good squad. A lot of the pitchers, too, like Zach Gallen, I'm really curious to see where he goes. It doesn't seem like Arizona maybe wants him back. They obviously want to go with Merrill Kelly. Same with Lucas Giolito. He just had a good year, too. So, I don't know. I can see guys would not want to get Valdez with the hot head and stuff. I can understand that. But very interesting with a lot of these players on the list, man. A lot of players on here. A lot of players' futures unknown. A lot of guys I think we know we're not going to get signed, like Tommy Pham and Michael Conforto. You know, it's hard to see them obviously coming back. Same with David Robertson. He got signed really at the end of 2025. So, like I said, he maybe retirement over there. I think a lot of guys, you know, like McCutchen, probably retired at this point, right? it's hard to see a lot of guys come back to come back to the sport. Like Justin Turner, I feel like probably retired at this point if he's not going to get signed. Jose Quintana is an interesting one. I'm surprised. Like he's not a terrible pitcher. But yeah, a lot of these guys could just be free agents or, whatever at this point. So we'll kind of wait and see. But yeah, it's kind of the free agent market right now. We can take a look at pretty much all the guys on here at this point and kind of see where they're at. I think a lot of them probably won't get signed. 100 players, 127 players. I probably think 30 get signed, maybe 40. I don't think a lot of guys are going to get signed yet, but because like I said, we're 2-3 weeks from reporting to spring training, so we don't got that much time left in the off season, and baseball's about to be back very soon, which is going to be very exciting. So that's kind of my thoughts on the recent moves and things like that. There hasn't been a whole lot this week, unless I'm remembering wrong. I know Cody Bellinger was this week. A lot of big ones I don't think were, to be honest, this week, but. Obviously a couple of big moves. I mean, it's kind of crazy to look back at this offseason in general, just to see like where we're at. You know what I mean? With all the different players. I mean, if you can just look by the teams, right? And not look at the AAV. Each team has made a lot of moves, right? I mean, I feel like all the teams have made a decent amount of moves so far. And the league's looking very different. So that's kind of where you have it as it stands right now. But we can kind of scroll through and take a look at where some of the teams stand. Where some of the teams probably lost out on some money. I mean, even this Mets stuff is just crazy to look at with all their contracts they've given out. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, the Brewers breaking the bank with Akil Abu right now, going crazy. So, and these are just the guys that have signed. These aren't any trades. Obviously, there's a lot more when it comes to trades, right? These are just signings that we have right now. Oh, the Sir Anthony Dominguez one was today. I actually didn't talk about that. Actually, pretty solid trade for the White Sox that they're getting him. I actually like the White Sox offseason. I think the Murakami and Dominguez trade are signing very good. Honestly, very good. Both these guys 2-year deals. They could be flipped at the deadline. I like the contracts they got. I think they did a good job. I think they did a really good job, even though, they're not going to, we're not expecting much from them. But I think they did a good job, man. I'm excited to see how those guys do with the White Sox. Obviously, the Ranger Suarez one just happened. Once again, I think it's a good move for Boston. I really like that. If they're not going to sign Giolito back, I think Suarez is a great fit. Had a phenomenal 2025 season. Absolutely dominated. So, very good. Same with the Orioles. Orioles had a very good offseason as well. With Pete Alonso, Ryan Hesley, and Taylor Ward from the trade with the Angels earlier on. The Braves signed a lot of players, as we can see. Robert Suarez being the most notable. And that's about it, chat. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of guys to get signed. A lot of guys waiting to get signed. We'll kind of see what happens moving forward. But yeah, that's basically everything I wanted to cover today, chat. But all of our topics, we covered the CJ. Well, first we talked about the tech problems. If you guys didn't know why the stream was late or anything like that, basically I was trying the new setup. Basically, there's this feature where you can stream like normal, like now. We can also have like a vertical stream. So I was trying that, and yeah, that didn't really go to plan. It kind of like messed up my whole system, and it was a little bit too much for my computer, I think. So maybe I got to change some settings or something like that. So basically, I restarted the stream like twice, and now we're here. So that's kind of how it was. Yeah, so it is what it is. I'll be honest, James, I have no idea what you put in my chat, to be honest. No idea what that means. Well, I think you're talking about the Astros, but I'm not really sure, to be honest. No idea what you're talking about there. But yeah, so that's basically what happened with the stream. I tried to go with the horizontal and the vertical mode. It was crashing my computer. I restarted, I changed some settings, tried it again, didn't work, restart it, now we're here. But yeah, we went over the CJ Aberms trade, we went over the World Baseball Classic documents, or the Docuseries or whatever. We went over the Chicago White Sox meme marketing thing, which is funny. We talked about the MLB Lockout with the articles and the CBA. And then we talked about some recent roster moves made on the deadline. So yeah, that's basically everything I had planned for today's stream. If you guys did like everything, make sure you guys drop a like. Go check out the socials if you guys want to follow me more. You can go check me out on all the socials, X for all of our updates. I'm tweeting out all the free agent news. You can follow me on Instagram for more of our clips. You can join our Discord if you guys want to talk more about MLB or MLB The Show, everything like that. All the links are in the description. And once again, if you want to check out the merch, man, I'm putting heavy work into the merch right now. So I really appreciate it if you guys check that stuff out. So With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. I will be putting timestamps as soon as the stream is done. So if you guys want to watch it back or anything like that, you guys can with some timestamps. But yeah, we'll be live next week. I'll probably be talking about MLB The Show 26 next week if they reveal it. I'm assuming Tuesday they're going to reveal it, chat, which is going to be the 27th. I'm assuming they're going to reveal it. But we'll kind of just wait and see at that point. Who really knows? But if you guys did enjoy this stream, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.
I can't focus, yeah, I'm broken. The door is closing. Wanna be a part of something more than this. I've lost control of it. Oh, seeing the stars reminds me of you.